Do you know who the fastest growing sports card YouTube content creator is in the last 12 months? I'm talking about percentage of growth over subscribers from last year to subscribers this year. No, it's not me. Don't worry. I'm not growing that fast. But I do know who is. And I'm going to share with you in this video the top content creators in YouTube for sports card content. The growth numbers are based on their subscriber counts last year, their subscriber counts today, and calculating the percentage of growth based on those numbers. Now, how did I get to those numbers? Great question, and I'll show you how. If you've been following me, you'll know I've been tracking YouTube channels for over a year. I actually started probably about 18 months ago doing my own research before I launched my own channel in May in 2020. Let me go ahead here quickly and share my screen and take you over here. This is my YouTube channel. I'm at the beginning here, my very first video. My very first video was an intro on using ComSync. Again, my goal was to create some kind of evergreen content for the hobby, something you come back and use over and over. And you'll see I started putting together a lot of stuff, market movers, websites on Facebook you can use, did some information on breaking. But what I ended up sticking with and became a theme on my channel was giving you updates on what other YouTube content creators were doing. And basically my idea was, look, I can't do everything, but if I see good content, I want you to know about it. And I also want to share and shine some light on some great YouTube content creators. That's always been my goal at Sports Cards Daily, is to, again, share information and shine a little light on those who are doing well. So we're going to journey back in memory lane to May 20th. May 20th is the first video I did that was my top interviews you're missing in sports card hobby, right? You'll see in this video that I was tracking House of Jordan, Sports Card Investor, Cardboard Chronicles, Hobby Hotline, and Sports Cards Live, all channels at the time that I was a huge fan of. Now, let me just quickly say, this is the video right here, the interview on Cardboard Chronicles with Peter from SGC. At the time, I think Peter was one of 8 employees at SGC. And a year later, young man grew a lot and grew the company a lot as well, to over 100 people. But I always remember this interview and how it impacted the hobby, impacted SGC and the grading world in many ways, really, when you think about it. The next video, and I started tracking this one, was on May 28th. Actually, I think there's another one on May 24th as well. But then I'll drop links from that. But what you'll see here is in each one of these videos, I was able to extract what the subscriber count was and the date. So May 28th, 28,000 subscribers. And then I compared those to what they are today. So it's easy to kind of go back and take a sneak peek at the channels I was following. Now, I'll leave links below. You can take a look at some of the channels. You'll see again here on the 4th, I did another snapshot. This was, by this time, it was a weekly review. I started off as a monthly, and then I started doing weekly reviews of content. And then here I am again in June 11th, putting out another weekly, week 4 content. So what does all that mean? Let me go ahead and switch over to handy dandy spreadsheet here. So as I mentioned, on 5/24, there were 20 channels that I highlighted in a four-part series. And real quickly, I'll just kind of show you some of the data. Now, again, what you can see is I took the name of the channel, the subscriber count as of last year per the video, and then I put in the current subscriber count as of yesterday, June 8th. You can see the growth numbers here. I want to point out a few guys that I've been following since like the very beginning, right? I mean, baseball card collector, investor dealer, 382, baubles and ball card, 406, flipping Steve at 82, and look where he is now, 4,000. Again, I think it's awesome to kind of look back and get a snapshot. A personal finance dad, Dustin, you were in my top 20 last year, or the 20 channels in my first videos. On the 28th, I did another video. I believe this was a weekly video, sports card talk show, Up North Collectors. I will highlight the yellow are channels that have since in the last few months gone inactive. Broke Card Investor, there's no more activity, but he did have some subscriber count increase. High Upside, I haven't seen any activity recently. Cardboard, the Card Collector is a young man. He was on, probably a few months last summer. And I'll just make this comment that there's a lot of young kids in the hobby that, their attention spans are short, but their time in the hobby is significant. Spending 3 or 4 months in the hobby is equivalent to years as an adult. So I do think the spark was set in some of these guys. I want to highlight 2 here on the 28th. Up North Collector, who I used to follow and subscribe to, was a big fan of. Used to love watching father and son ripping cards. This is what I do with my boys. I absolutely cannot stand Up North Collector anymore because he endorses Card Vest, or whatever the hell it is, and the repack scam that's going on. So again, if you are an Up North Collector, give him some feedback. I left him some feedback. Tell him, hey, dude, you got to change this. But it really bothers me because this is a seasoned collector and his son. And think about the message he's sending. He's teaching his son that repacks are okay. And that just really disgusts me. KB Legends is another one that I'm not a fan of. And that is because KB Legends on the 28th was a video, a video game channel. And now they're Sports Card Invest, copying the Sports Card Investor and really, what's the word I'm looking for? Grifting people, just not a big fan. But those are channels I was following. And again, a lot of things have changed over the year. Red Cape Sports, CRT Sports Cards, Titan Cards, 3 channels I've been following for over a year. Bench Clear, which is a merger of Pat Geek and Breaker Culture merged together. Also mentioned that Cardboard Chronicles and House of Jordan are actually now part of Sports Card Culture. They don't actually put up any new content on their channel, so this kind of could be inactive. Bench Clear, talked about them. Card Hour, Soccer 51, and now they're at 2000. Card Rip Pack and Sports Card Kid, both channels again that have disappeared or just gone inactive. And those back pages. So this is where I got my data. Took the data here from the video that I made last year, took the subscriber count as of today, and then calculated who is the top subscriber by growth. So what I did there, I did a growth. I'll show you the numbers in a second. I'm gonna do the countdown first. So let's start at the bottom. Obviously the guys in yellow, right? Inactive channels, not really surprised. Breaker Culture and Pat Geek, again, have not been putting out new content on those channels. So although they've had some growth, it's not surprising me that they were low on this, because you'll see Bench Clear's been doing very well. The Card Collector, as I mentioned, young man. KB Legends, I'm actually really excited to see him at the bottom here where he deserves to be, because again, it's a complete grifter website. If you guys subscribe to this guy, tell me why. And if you don't subscribe to him, tell him to go away. I don't know. I'm sorry. I shouldn't say that. Just not a fan. He is really hurting the hobby. Elite Co, Filmington, Up North Collector. Shame. You can redeem yourself, Up North Collector. Just banish the repacks. But you can see growth, right? 30%. That's pretty good growth. Come back, those back pages. I will point out these channels have also been around a longer time, right? They've had some established. They were around before last year, probably 2+ years or longer. I mean, Silver Jackify, Elite Co been around for a long time. House of Jordan was new last year, and I remember them making their race to 1,000. They've had the 1,100 at the time I made we watched them last year. Now they're just around 2,000, although the channel's been active. Sports Card Talk Show, Blake Jameson. I thought it's interesting to see an artist and how much he's actually increased, over 100% in the last year, and very involved in sports cards. Red Cape Sports, CRT Sports Cards, big fan of both those channels. PSA Collector switched over to Graded Card Investor, which is kind of funny because I think about it. I think 2020 was the year of the investor, and I think 2021 might be the year of the collector, but we will see. And you can see again, slipped on the list here, only 156% growth, did increase the numbers, considerably, but not one of the leaders when you look at everybody else. Pac-Man. Pac-Man is probably the biggest channel in the YouTube content creation. Now, I will say he's really a breaker more than he's a content creator now. He used to open packs and share information. Now we buy packs and he opens them for us. So he's not quite the same, but he has 120,000 subscribers. Hobby Hotline, I'll just leave it at, they've had some growth. Wax Museum, Sports Card Investor. Now this is interesting, added 68,000 subscribers, one of the faster growing channels, not the #1 channel though, not even the top 10 with 300% growth. Run Good Life, look at that, 400% growth. Bobbles and Ball Cards. Bobbles is an SGC subber, and I know he's picked up a lot. So I will say when you're doing subbing or breaking, you'll get a lot of subscribers as well. Another thing you could do. High Upside's been kind of inactive. Slab Stocks, they've actually started doing some breaks as well. They're still putting a lot of content out, but they do a lot of breaks. Again, great growth from 1,900 to what, 13,000? That's awesome, 586. And number 10 in our top 10, Sports Cards Live. That's Jeremy there with 772% growth. Again, when I started following him last year, it's around 352, now around 3,000 subscribers. If you haven't followed Jeremy, he has conversations on Saturday night with friends in the hobby. I'm going to loosely say interview, but if he ever has me on a show, there'll be an interview. It'd be a real interview because it wouldn't be canned. Broke Card Investor. Channel's kind of disappeared, but he did make the top 10 because he went from 15 to 155 subscribers, even though he hasn't put out content in 9 months. So he's kind of an anomaly. Maybe I could drop him off and put, move Slab Stocks to the top 10. Personal Finance Dad, Dustin, congratulations, man. Number 8. Dustin's channel's always been doing well, been growing very well over the year, but look at that growth. I mean, 1,100%. That's amazing. Next up, Titan cards. Titan cards 1900. I remember stumbling across Titan cards and I said to myself right then, this channel is going to blow up and I need to stop watching. I'll just leave it at that. I love breaking and I love women, and women breaking cards is like kryptonite to me. So I'm a fan, but I'm not an active subscriber. But congratulations on that growth. I mean, think about that. 1,100, almost 1,200% growth in 1 year. The hobby box, Boris. It's funny. Boris got me into the hobby. I'm sorry, got me into YouTube content creating. It's a separate story. I won't talk about it right now. And I've had some ups and downs with Boris over the year, but I've been following his channel. Boris did block me last year. We do now talk, but I mentioned it's interesting. He's number 6 here on the list at 1,500% growth. Although he just came out of the video last week and kind of declared the end of sports cards, and we'll see what happens. He's got a lot going on in his life. Boris, if you're watching this, I hope you're doing well, and would love to see you putting out more content in the future. Bench clear, as I mentioned before, I did a video about these guys a few days ago. The OGs, in my opinion, when you look at Michael, baseball card collector, and you look at Ty from Breaker Culture, and look at their subscriber numbers. They really started their channel last year, and they're over 9,000 subscribers today. Number 4, Card Hour. Coming out of Europe, starting with 51 subscribers, and now just under 2,000, Vincent, with soccer content from Card Hour. Big fan of Vincent. I've been following for a long time. And again, you'll see if you watch my videos, I was recommending these channels to a lot of my friends. If you watch my content, I'll talk about something the card ladder would bring up or bench player would bring up, or if it was something of interest, you know, I was pointing you to these channels. I want to say by the end of the summer, like again, this is a snapshot. In June, I was following what, about 20 or 30 channels. By the end of the summer, I think I was following over 200 different channels and tracking, you know, their activity, their content, and just learning, basically, consuming. Number 3, this has got to drive Dustin crazy. You know, Dustin's there at number 8, and Brad is there at number 3. From 385 subscribers to over 15,000, 4,000% growth in 1 year. For the bronze medal, Brad, that's not bad, man. That's not bad at all. I'm very impressed, very excited. Brad's been a great friend. I've been on his channel. And he's one of those content creators that was open to conversation. I'll say, you know, I leave a lot of comments, and I do encourage people to leave comments, right? And Brad and I have just been able to strike a great rapport back and forth over the year. Number 2, any ideas who number 2 is? Number two, remember, you see who's missing? Flipping Steve. Yes, sir, Flipping Steve, starting with 82 subscribers and now over 4,000 subscribers with 4,800% growth. Amazing, Flipping Steve. Big fan. I've had Flipping Steve do some collaborations with me on my channel. I love following his Monday nights. A big fan of what he's doing. And again, I think it's just because he's a real guy. Yeah, you can tell he's not trying to sell you anything on his channel. He doesn't have a join button. He's not selling you a report or you know, anything like that. He's just honestly sharing you what he's doing. And he's just very good about it. I really do enjoy Steve, and I'm happy for your success. Now the next guy, the last guy, the number 1 channel, the guy whose channel is just blown up in the last year, who's gone from a few hundred to almost 30,000 subscribers in 1 year. One of my favorite channels. And I'll tell you this, if you watch my videos, when I followed this content from this person, I've always said from the day one, when I stumbled across his channel, this is the best channel in the hobby. It still is today. Like, I remember when I found his channel, I binge watched every video he's had. Since then, I don't keep up with everything. I mean, there's a lot of stuff he puts out, but there's just the best content in the hobby is coming from baseball card collector, investor, dealer with 7,300% growth. That's a clear first. It's not even like a close second. I mean, that's huge. From 382 subscribers to 28,000. I heard him on a video say that, you know, if he put all subscribers in one room or one place, it'd be like a concert. And it's awesome. I really like Chris and the content he's put together. You know, let me just say this. If you're not following Chris, you must be sleeping at the wheel. Chris puts together great content. You learn. He never sells you anything. He's not pitching you anything. He's not biased. It's just fun stories, whether he's talking about a deal he did, or he talks about the Messi card last year, or he does an update on the Messi card 3 months later. He just, you know, every week he puts together his high rollers, eBay auctions. Just a big fan of what Chris has been doing for the hobby. I wish more people would model the content that Chris puts out. But I will say, I think it's Chris's experience in the hobby, you know, years of experience. The man's been in the hobby since he was a little kid, is why his channel is so valuable. Well, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. I will show you real quickly a breakdown here. Here's my growth by date. You'll see I've got my numbers here. There's the growth percentage as far as number of subscribers. Here's the percentages of growth, and I sorted and organized that in case you were kind of curious how I came to this. And I do keep an eye on, like I said, I've documented over the last year You know, in fact, one thing I really like about my YouTube channel is it really has chronicled the last year of sports cards, right? Day to day, giving you updates on the news, what's happening around the hobby, what's happening in content. And it's made me a lot more aware. And the hobby, it's given me a lot of information, a lot of details. I hope I've been able to share that with you. I hope I've been able to help other channels grow. I'm always looking to help new channels grow. You will always see me commenting. I'm not a quiet person. So I'm in the chat, I'm gonna talk. If I'm on your page, I'm gonna leave a comment. If I see something good, I'm gonna praise it. If I see something bad, I'm gonna ask why. So thank you guys very much for enjoying this episode. I hope you appreciate it. For all the content creators out there, thank you for doing what you do. And let's keep doing it, guys. Can't wait to see what happens next year and where we are 5 years from now. Have a great day. Stay safe. Stay healthy. Peace out.